after he put an engagement ring on his fiancée, all for the first time.
This is great. I mean, the ring's great. Mahomes gets engaged to his high school sweetheart, Brittany. It's an all-around great day for the greatest player in the NFL and a man who I think we can officially say it, with respect to George Brett, the greatest athlete in Kansas City sports history. My hometown. Sorry, George.
Where's your ring, Nick? Where's your ring? Where's your ring? Super fan
upstairs,
ring. Upstairs,
in the vault, in the floor safe.
Oversight,
it's
Brandon.
In the floor safe.
A little minor oversight. Next up, Larry Legend. Brandon, this is for you. Watch the belated birthday boy make the no big thing one-handed catch at practice and then run it out.
Finally, I mean, the first week, you guys just tried to pamper me and throw all these amazing catches that you thought were amazing from the running back and receivers. Finally, you guys give me something that I think is impressive. The catch, this is legendary Fitzgerald. We've seen this year after year after year for 17 years. He's 37 years old, and this is why that's so impressive. It's not because of his hands, but because of his legs. How is Larry Fitzgerald at 37 running open down the middle of the field? That's so impressive to me. Larry Legend continues to live. Larry.
And that must be Kyler throwing it because you can't see him behind the lineman.
On to fumble fun. Your guy, Wilds. I got to wonder, did he learn this from Bill Belichick up there in New England? I could see Belichick doing this.
Oh, of course. Well, once a Patriot, always a Patriot. The most creative mind in football. And also the segue to America's fastest and hottest growing new game show. What would Joe Judge do? Nick, you're our new contestant. Welcome. Today we're working on footwork. Here we go. Which one of these drills would Joe Judge do? Number 1, walking on hot coals during a meditation retreat in Burlington, Vermont. Number 2, hallway full of mousetraps. Number 3, team screening of Footloose starring Kevin Bacon. Which one of these drills would Joe Judge do?
Great movie.
Hallway full of mousetraps was legitimately funny, Wilds. I feel like the hot coals is going to be the penalty for his linemen that jump off sides twice in a row. He's going to have them right next to the lap they run, a bed of hot coals, Tony Robbins style, so the guys really understand he's not here to bleep around. That seems like the next Joe Judge move. I'm not getting fooled by this. I'm not getting fooled by this.
You'd be surprised. Maybe some of this stuff's working. I'm happy for Giants fans. Hey, we bring in Antoine Walker to talk Game 7 Jazz Nuggets last night. Crazy last 10 seconds, Twan. Utah with a chance at the end, but they came up short. A brilliant series, a brilliant performance out of Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell, although not right at that second. In the end, Denver would prevail. 80-78 was your final last night. Nuggets now face the Clippers in round 2 tomorrow night. Antoine, how impressive were the Denver Nuggets fighting back, coming back in this series?
I was very impressed. I thought to be down 3-1, to stay focused, to stay poised, to get back into this series and give yourself a chance to win was incredible. This is a team that played in 2 7-game series last year, so they were ready and could handle the 7-game pressure. You got to remember that they had those type of complications last year. But I thought to get Gary Harris back, I thought he was huge last night. It may not show up in the stat sheet. He the one tapped the ball away from Donovan Mitchell at the end. But now you get him back healthy to add to that backcourt. I thought Mike Malone did a terrific job of mixing up his lineup. This was a tough series for Michael Porter Jr. to play in. He had to go with more of a defensive unit. So he went with Jared Grant a lot more. So you got to give Mike Malone a lot of credit. But great series. The teams matched up really well. You got to give Utah a lot of credit, being without one of their star players and to be able to compete the way they did. Donovan Mitchell, obviously a monster series. But Jamal Murray made a name for himself. He's starting to show, it's kind of what we're talking about with Tatum. He's starting to show that he can be that star, to take it to that next level. He's getting paid that type of money. And he may not make an all-star team next year, Nick and Brent. He may not. But he's that good offensively. So kudos to the Nuggets. This is a great comeback. You got to give those guys a lot of credit to come back 3-1 and win this series.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nick. But Walk, I disagree with you. Jamal Murray, I mean, I read something. I'm like, who is this guy, right? Like, everybody's scrambling. Like, where's this? Like, they know who he is. He was talked about 4 years ago. But for him to do this on this stage, like, it caught a lot of people by surprise. I read an article where they did a list of the 25 players under 25, and he came in at like 20. So when you say you think, when we talk about stars born, I don't know, man, because last night was one of those moments where I felt like he didn't rise to the occasion. So to me, it's easy to come in and have 1, 2, 3, 4 games that is really good, but can you consistently do it, and can you do it in a big moment? And last night, I mean, he didn't really show up and impose his will until the last 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. He was tired. He didn't guard Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell guarded him in the clutch moment up until the last two minutes. But to me, I think you guys are jumping the gun on Jamal Murray.
Well, I don't think we're jumping the gun on him. I think when you really think about the body of work, the three game span that he had when they went down 3-1 was epic. A lot of guys are not capable of putting those type of games together. I thought he made key plays last night. No, did he shoot the basketball well? No, not last night. I think he was like 6 for 20 last night. But he made the key plays that was there. Only thing that bothered me about Jamal Murray this whole series, the fact that he pushed the ball on the break and tried to get a layup at the end. You got to just dribble that ball out and get fouled. Besides that,
when you're a 90% free throw shooter, that almost blew the whole thing, Twan. Now, so listen, and I want to support Jamal in this regard, Antoine. Games 5 and 6 are elimination games for them. He scores 92 points coming off a 50-point game and a Game 4 loss to put them in this spot. Now, to Brandon's point, he had a bad Game 7 last year to end their season against Portland, said he wanted to bounce back from it, didn't. And if Conley hits that shot, we're talking about an all-time gaffe by Jamal Murray to not just pull that ball out. So he's very fortunate in that spot. But there's a couple, and one other small point on Jamal Murray. Brandon, you should know this. Just like you have a Blake Bortles jersey Kentucky because you love UCF guys. Where did Jamal Murray go to college? Kentucky. Where did Antoine Walker win a national championship? Kentucky. So there's always going to be a little, there's like a 10% inflation rate for all Kentucky players in the league. Just know that. Okay. But now, like Devin Booker, Jamal Murray, like what are we going to do? But it's neither here nor there. So when we're talking about 3-1 comebacks, right? So like if what the Cavs did to the Warriors is a 99 out of 100, and the Heat, when they had 3-1 comeback over the Knicks because the late, great David Stern suspended all the Knicks players for walking off the bench, if that's like a 2 out of 100, this is a solid 55. Like, because you do have to incorporate, they didn't have to win any elimination games on the road. I do wonder if you had to play a Game 6 in Utah with your season on the line, how different this series potentially is. But that is the bubble today. The one thing to me, Wilds, where we have to give credit in a game where everyone was tight. Everyone seemed to have the Game 7 kind of short-arming. Jokic, once again, he was excellent in Game 7 in round 1 last year against the Spurs. He was excellent in a loss in Game 7 last year in round 2 against the Blazers. And 30 points in this year's playoffs doesn't sound like a lot, but 30 points when your team scores 80, that's like a 50-point game.
That's right.
And he had the great play at the end of the game on two-time defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert, getting that kind of little kind of baby hook shot that ended up being the game-winning basket. So Jokic, who I've been a critic of because there's a 0% chance he can get as high off the ground as Jenna does doing her burn.